BBC News at midday. Ukraine says Kyiv has been targeted by Russian missiles in a daytime attack hours after a second consecutive nighttime assault. Our correspondent James Landale is there.
Russia has launched airstrikes on Kyiv almost every other night this month. But today, unusually, the attack has continued in daylight. And even more unusually, the target appears to have been the centre of the city. Shortly after air raid warnings rang out, explosions could be heard across Ukraine's capital. The BBC saw at least one missile streak across the sky before it was destroyed by air defences.
The head of the Metropolitan Police Federation, which represents rank-and-file officers, has criticised proposals from the force to stop attending emergency calls in London related to mental health incidents from September. Officers will still respond where there is an immediate threat to life. But the Met Commissioner says too much time is being spent waiting with patients and officers need to focus on fighting crime. The mental health charity Mind has expressed concern at the plan, and the Metropolitan Police Federation chief, Ken Marsh, says it will be difficult to implement the new rule.
Who makes a decision that you can't go to something? And if, God forbid, this ended up in a coroner's court, what does my officer then say? Well, the commissioner told me not to go. And that just wouldn't stand up, because you are solely responsible for what you're dealing with out on the street. You can get flagged down, it's not everything comes over a radio. This is dynamic. They're put in front of you there and then. You have to make that decision.
The Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has called for unity in the country after extending his 2 decades in power in a runoff election yesterday. He won with 52% of the vote. The opposition candidate, Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu, polled 48%. Our senior international correspondent, Orla Guerin, is in the capital, Ankara, where there were big celebrations last night.
The streets were full of the president's supporters surging out, waving Turkish flags. There was music and drums. And of course, we heard his victory speech given at his presidential palace here, which has a mere 1,000 rooms. And in the same breath, he promised unity. He said that Turkey was the only winner. But he then immediately proceeded with the divisive rhetoric that he is known for. So I think supporters are happy there will be more of the same. Opponents are worried about exactly the same.
One of Africa's most hardline anti-gay laws has come into effect in Uganda. The legislation widens the ban on same-sex acts and introduces the death penalty for some. It's been condemned internationally. The former presenter of ITV's This Morning, Philip Schofield, has said there was no toxicity on the show while he was there. Yesterday, the doctor and broadcaster Ranj Singh, who worked on the programme for a decade, said there'd been a toxic culture. Philip Schofield left ITV last week after admitting he'd lied to cover up an affair with a young male colleague. Today, the programme began with the presenters Dermot O'Leary and Alison Hammond and guest Giles Brandreth, reassuring viewers they were happy to be there.
We all know we happen to be in the news at the moment, and of course we appreciate that. But just from both of us and the whole team here, the crew, the guys downstairs, we love making this show for all of you.
Yeah, we really do. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to continue to do that. So let's go on with our first news story. Giles.
We are very happy to be here. Can I say that as well?
Yeah, of course.
This is a happy place to work.
Football fans have gathered in Luton Town Centre to celebrate their team's promotion to the Premier League. The players are taking part in a victory parade on an open-top bus after beating Coventry City in their playoff at Wembley on Saturday. Aslam Khan, who's a councillor in Luton, believes the side's promotion will have a positive effect on the town.
It means much more to us than just football, because what the club does on the pitch and off the pitch for the whole community is brought people together. Quite often, Luton is knocked down by people who don't know us. And today, you will see how wonderful, how proud, how diverse and welcoming this town is.
BBC News.